I didn't know how it was going to turn out. Literally, we go onto that glacier, get into the ice fall. There's avalanches around you. It's scary, and you don't know how it's going to turn out. I love big challenges. I like to accomplish big things. When I was in middle school, I read the book Into Thin Air. That got me really intrigued in the whole mountaineering experience. And so from there, slowly, I just kind of worked my way into a couple different mountains. What really attracted me to high altitude mountaineering was being away, just disconnecting myself from the busyness of the world and just spending time with God. The beauty is just amazing. It's like, man, God is all around me. And you reach that summit and you're so thankful to God. You're so completely emotionally and physically drained, and you just cry. And it's honestly, it's the best feeling in the world. Climbing a mountain like Everest, you face a lot of adversity. There's cold. There's risk of avalanche, ice falling, big cracks in the glacier. Just staying healthy is difficult. The days are extremely long. Summit day, the summit push could be 36 hours from Camp 3 all the way to the summit and back. There's no evacuation up at high altitude. You have no option. You're on your own. You have to just trust your team and just do what needs to be done in that day, in that hour, in that second. Just take a step at a time, a climb at a time, and that's the way you get through. There's the mountain. The conditions on Everest this year were one of the worst they've ever seen. A 3-hour trek was taking 10 hours. We go onto that glacier, get into the ice fall, and there's avalanches around you. It's scary, and you don't know how it's going to turn out. We had prepared. Our Sherpa were carrying oxygen up for us. Everything was ready. Our departure time from base camp through the icefall was going to be 1 o'clock. About 8 o'clock, I was getting ready to go to bed for a couple hours of sleep before we headed out. We all came in, and we were presented with the weather. There was no good news. A typhoon was rolling in, and it had closed up our weather window. And we all knew it. When we came to the realization that there was just, unfortunately, no good option for us, and we had to pull the plug on this, it was, completely heartbreaking. We had worked so hard. We had prepared. Some had prepared for years, multiple years. To have it just be yanked out from under their feet was devastating. I didn't know what to do. I was speechless. There was just nothing we could do. And we just shifted gears and had to figure out a way out of base camp. And the whole game changed at that point. I had so many God experiences when my lungs were just dying for oxygen. You could breathe as much as you want, but it wasn't getting anything into your lungs. And so just this reliance on God for a breath, just a simple breath, or for enough energy for a step. Just those basic necessities of life. When He gives me this life, what am I going to do with it? That was a really cool perspective shift. The whole trip was kind of like that, to be honest. It was definitely a test of faith. It is hard to come back to regular life from a very intense situation and just kind of go back to normal. I don't want to go back to normal, to be honest. I want to continue to rely on God for my next breath, even if it's easy to breathe here. We all have dreams and we all have goals. We all have these journeys that we're on with God. It's scary. It's scary to make that commitment and go do it. But at the same time, the rewards are great. And if you just stay in your comfort zone, I just feel like we're limiting what God can do. Everest was hands down the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. But honestly, it was one of the best adventures that I've ever had as well.